So why study French? So there's quite a few things really. It's really exciting. You can go places, you can meet new people, you get to learn about a new culture. Remember, it's not just about the grammar and the vocab, it's about understanding customs and traditions. And actually, that's not only in France, but it's in other French-speaking countries. Take, for example, Quebec in Canada, Belgium, Senegal. So you've got your African French-speaking countries, La Nouvelle-Calédonie, so New Caledonia, which is a teeny tiny country just off Australia. So there's so many places that speak French that maybe we've not thought about before. So also, it's looked really, really favourably in terms of employers to have a GCSE language, okay? Because actually you can use it in many, many different ways, and it shows that you've got brilliant communication skills, that you can read documents carefully, you can listen carefully to information, you can put pieces of writing together, so you can actually construct writing and order the ideas very, very well. And also, in addition to that, you can talk, you can speak, so you can present, and that is so valuable. So these are actually the unemployment rates very, very recently, and you'll see that there's a really, really small amount of people who took a language GCSE A-level and beyond who were left unemployed. So the average is 5.51%, but actually, it's those all-rounder skills that are so exciting in terms of you thinking, for your future career, your future studies. And as I say, a GCSE language, GCSE French, really provides a strong backbone in terms of all of the different skills it can offer. So what do our sixth form students say about all of this? They think it's really, really unique. It shows those communication skills, and that actually you welcome a challenge, that you're not afraid of information, that you can pick it apart. And that's everything that the GCSE is really about. It's about, yes, it's learning your vocabulary. You don't need to know every single word in order to be successful, remember. It's about kind of using those inferring skills and saying, well, I actually understand and I can use the vocab that I do know in order to work out what other bits of the puzzle mean. Okay? So, le français, c'est la langue de la culture, ouvrant une porte sur l'art, la musique, la danse, la mode, la cuisine et le cinéma. This quote's really true. So, it talks about the language of culture, opening the door to art, music, dance, fashion, cooking, cinema. Well, we look at all of those topics at GCSE and we do some modules on them. So not only do we learn about the vocab and the grammar to put our phrases and communicate things very well, but we also learn about the culture and how things work in French-speaking countries. So, communication skills. Teamworking. Remember, there's so much pair work and group work that goes on when you're learning a language. You can present. So we often think about the speaking exam as being something very, very scary, but actually it's not. You are presenting information, and if you've prepared it very, very well and you take on the advice that you get from your teachers, you're really well equipped in terms of how to present information clearly and confidently. Problem-solving skills as well, I think they're really important, and you're always coming up, I suppose, every lesson in languages, there is a problem-solving skill, and you're well aware of what they are already because you're actually doing it every single lesson at the moment. So, parler français, c'est pouvoir accroître ses opportunités professionnelles et ses prétentions salariales. So, it's about culture, but it's also, thinking about your future and your opportunities, and actually having a language, a really, really important one. You get to meet loads of new people. So that even starts at GCSE, meeting new people in your class, for example, doing pair work, working with them, say, on your speaking activities or some translation, doing the problem solving. It's a really social activity in that respect. Yes, we do independent work, but there's so much opportunity to do group work and actually have good discussions, whether it's about the language, whether it's about the vocabulary, whether it's about culture. There's so much opportunity to interact, and that's in lessons. That's also going abroad to the country. So actually, when you combine all of those things together, the GCSE offers you something that's really, really enriching and very, very different. Okay, and it's just really interesting. And that comes across in the kind of topics that we look at. So le français est la langue de nombreux chefs d'œuvre de la littérature. So also literature. We look at tiny examples of this in GCSE actually, and again it's about picking apart the language and doing your problem solving here, and actually working with your peers and individually to come to conclusions and answer questions about that. But you'll see that there's a fair crossover actually in terms of perhaps what you cover in other subjects here and other literary texts that you've looked at. So from that point of view, it's really rewarding because you'll be able to draw on your knowledge from other subjects. You think about history, geography, English literature. They're just perhaps 2 or 3 examples. We think about geographical locations, say African French-speaking countries, for example. We think about literary texts and short stories, for example, that we look at again as part of your GCSE. So yes, it's a challenge, but you'll develop yourself in the process. Okay, and it really opens your mind to the way that things work in Francophone-speaking countries. Okay, and actually that kind of I'd say enriches your cultural sensitivity just to have that broader understanding about other cultures, and that really comes through in your GCSE work as well. Okay, so le français ouvre la porte sur un monde d'événements sportifs passionnants. It's not just about sort of looking at the literary texts and the vocab and the grammar. Also, an important part of the culture is sport. So again, it's another topic that we cover in a fair amount of detail. We have to then communicate about it. But again, we take a little look into how things work in France with that. So it's about that cultural experience. Okay, so finding out about different values, different traditions, and that's all embedded within your reading work, your listening work, and your writing. A couple of other things there to think about. Ça apprend le français, c'est pouvoir mieux comprendre les autres et leur culture. So again, I suppose that sums it up really nicely. Learning French, it's about better understanding other people and their culture. And the best bit about that is that you not only get that input, but you're able to communicate and put your sentences together so you could legitimately go to France with a French GCSE and use the language and put that into action, which I think is really exciting. So here are the finer details of the French GCSE course. Okay, so it's purely exam based, and at the moment each paper is worth 25%. Okay, so it's equally weighted across all of the 4 skills. So I've talked a lot about the cultural aspect, the grammar and the vocabulary. So the broader themes you can see are broken down. So family, friends, technology, free time activities. Neighbourhood in your region, social issues, travel, tourism, global issues, so things like the environment, festivals and events, that's kind of what we mean there. Also school and education, talk about your future plans, jobs and career choices. So it's really varied in terms of the topics. There's something there for everybody. And actually, whether the cultural aspect is your thing, whether it's the vocab and the grammar, there's certainly something for everybody, and that also comes across in the GCSE assessment course as well. Okay, so we follow the AQA GCSE French course books. So it's Studio for French. Okay, and we follow revision guides and the workbook, which is by Pearson, and that's something that we can arrange for you to purchase in school as well. So the French teachers are myself, Mrs. Purdy, Mrs. Williamson and Miss Gould. Okay, and as I say, it is such a varied course, and every single exam skill offers you something really important for the future, okay? And it's all to do with communication and embedding that culture. So if you have any further questions about it, please do contact one of us and get in touch. Remember, it is pretty much building on everything that you have been doing already in class. Okay, we always do the listenings, the translations, the vocab work with you already. So if that's something you're really enjoying, you find it a challenge, then the GCSE is just offering you additional information on top of that. Okay, so please get in touch. We're really looking forward to seeing you during the for GCSE. Okay, and I'll leave it there and let you have a think about all of that information.